back everybody, welcome back to my channel. Alex does the least educational bushcrafting channel on all of YouTube. I hope you enjoy. We're back in the bush, we're back at the site. It's lovely to be here. It's nice to come back and see that the tarp was still here, but of course we never have any visitors or anything like that, so yeah, no surprises there. It's nice to be back. It's been a week or so since I was here last time. If you didn't catch last week's video, go and check that out. It was certainly special to have our special guest here, Craig from Bushcraft and Camping Adventures, to come along on that ride. It was really nice to meet him, and I can guarantee you that there will be future episodes where we do filming and spend some time together again. He himself, as far as I'm aware, is about to embark on a new build of his own after we tore down his Basecamp Bobby last week. So go and check his channel out. Watch this video to the end, then go and check out his channel, okay? Things that we're going to do today. Absolute first thing I want to do is get the bit of wood along the side here that was prepared last time I was doing some work. Yeah, it's been, I haven't done any work here since Boxing Day last year, so I'm looking forward to making some progress again on the camp. I don't know it's going to be a huge amount of progress, but any progress is good progress. But certainly first thing I want to do is get this side piece along the bottom here pinned on, or nailed on with dowels, you know. Anyway, and the next thing, I don't really know after that. I suppose anything after that's icing on the cake. But I'll probably start thinking about how I'm going to put some wood along the front, similar to these bottom rails, because I do eventually want to get the whole bottom of the walls railed in, except for the space where the fireplace is going to go. So I think that's my next step, is to gradually work my way around the bottom and getting all the bottom rails in, because we need those rails in to secure the upright pieces for the wattle and daub, or the wattle of the wattle and daub. Obviously we need to do window frames and all that before that happens too. Other than that, I don't really know. I'm just going to try and relax, have a good time. So make sure you stick to the end. I'm sure it's going to be good. You're going to see some really good footage. I appreciate you coming along. Thank you for being here and giving me some of your time. Let's go. Someone's been here and graffitied the wall. CZ. The bloody hell's that? I've got my chair out, but before I start doing any work, of course, first port of call is always water. I've decided I'm going to try and make a more direct route down to the creek. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to make a more direct route to camp. So let's see if we can get down that way. It's just down there. Alright, so we'll see how we go climbing down there, huh? Alright, that was a bit hairy, but now I'm down here. Like there's a bit of a rock platform here I can use. The water's nice and clean and deep, plenty of it. Alright, now to see if I can get out of here. Right, so this pole was, as I mentioned before, previously prepped back on Boxing Day. Last time I did some actual work on the structure. She's a little bit dirty, a little bit rough obviously from all the wet weather that we've had. I've just given it a quick clean around there. Before I do put some holes in there, obviously it's ideal to have this fairly tight or secure up against the poles. In the real world, obviously you'd use some clamps or something like this, but don't expect me to go and bushcraft some clamps. So I'm going to use the same method that I used before, which was to just wrap some rope around the pole at the other side and around this side and kind of loop it. I need to just use the axe and make myself a stake with a point. You put the stake in between the two ropes and spin it around, twisting the rope, creating some tension which pulls it in, taut against these poles, and then because you've got a point there you can hammer it into the ground a little bit, and that will hold the rope in place while it's in that taut position, and then you can drill your holes. So first thing to do is take this over to the chopping block and we'll put a pointy bit on the end. I'll do it, I think. There we go, it doesn't have to go in far, just enough to stop it spinning back. It's fair bit of tension on that. I'm just holding this piece nicely up against this pole, ready for me to clean the mud off, ready for me to put one or two holes in there, and I'll put some pins in. Alright, so now it's time to get out my favourite tool of all time, the hand auger, and we'll get some holes drilled in there and put some pins in. Alright, first dowel to go in for the trip. So for those new viewers or anyone who hasn't seen the earlier footage of what I've done on the previous builds, and if you are new, you need to know this is not a how-to channel. I'm no expert. Go and do your own research. If you're going to do these things, look at what other people do. This is what I'm choosing to do. It may not be the best method, but because I'm choosing not to use unnatural materials like nails and screws and things, this is the best method that I have found that seems to be working. So, as you saw there in the hyperlapse, I've drilled the first hole, goes into here at an angle and then into the upright. I've whittled down a dowel to fit in that hole. We split the end of the dowel like so and put a small wedge into the end of the split there. What happens then is we drive that end into the hole, and as it hits the bottom of the hole, because this hole doesn't go all the way through, it's a blind hole, as it hits the bottom of the hole, this wedge gets forced up into the split, which spreads the dowel, and that bites onto the sides of the hole and gives you a nice secure fit, and it will not pull out. So fingers crossed. It's a bit of a hit and miss, though I seem to have been fairly lucky most of the time. You don't want to get too tight of a fit and you can't get it down, because then you won't get it all the way out. And that seems a bit tight, but we'll see how we go. So we knock that in. We're just listening for that sound change or noise change, meaning that it's hit the bottom and bottomed out, and there's no way in hell, no way in hell I can pull that out. No way in hell. So what we do now is we cut the end off, put a split in the end, and put another wedge in. That'd be good one. Get another one in there. I prefer the dowel to be slightly undersized rather than oversized, because I've learnt from experience that if with some woods, not all woods, but with some woods, if you try and hammer in a dowel that's oversized, which with some woods out here, the wood's split. I think that's about done. So now we just need to, I like to bevel the front nose or sharpen it slightly. Then we'll put a split in it. Actually I'll cut the end off. Put a split in it, put a wedge in it, and we'll hammer it in like we did the other one. Right, so now I'm just going to cut this off, put a split in the end, put a wedge in, and we'll go and hammer it in. So there we go, once again, just the split and the wedge in the end goes in the new hole. And you'll notice these holes I did at a slight angle opposing to each other, so that obviously when they go into this pole, they come in close together, so it's like they're holding on with a couple of fingers sort of thing. Again, I'm no expert. What do I know? This one's a bit tight. There's the change of sound. A couple more just for good measure. Rightio. Wedge. Oh, bent me nail. Nice one. That ain't going nowhere. I should be able to now release the tension on this, and it won't fall off or spring out if I've done my job right. And like I said, I'll move this then to one of the other ends. I'm going to do the one behind you over there next. Wait. Careful not to smack myself in the face. Let's get a hole in there, eh? Well, that only took 2 hours, 2.5 hours. But that's that piece of wood on. As I said, when it comes to bushcrafting and doing things by hand, things obviously take a little bit longer than they do in the real world. In addition to that, I also took somebody's advice. I have put some hanging hooks, not really hooks, studs, hanging studs on a couple of the posts inside to hang my gear up, just to make sure that they're up off the ground and under cover and away from the rain, because I am, even though it's now quite bright at the moment, previously just a moment ago, oh, I love Australia's weather, we're starting to feel some spits of rain, so who knows whether we're going to get any or not. So the next thing to do is going to be to source some wood to go along the front. I think I'm going to do the front next, the bottom rails along the front. That's going to comprise of, the way I have in mind to do it, 3 individual pieces, so I need to find either 3 individual pieces, or ideally one piece that I can cut into 3 individual pieces so they're all the same type of wood and the same diameter or thickness. Other than that, I don't think it's going to be too long before I cook my dinner. It's just gone 2 o'clock and I'm pretty hungry actually already, so yeah, I don't think it'll be too long before I get the fire going and have a bit of a cook up and a feed. And once I have my feed though, that'll be stop work for the day, and we'll continue tomorrow or next video. This may end up being a 2-part video again. I think that's quite likely. So I'm going to go for a wander and see if I can find some wood. Well, I've managed to source a couple of pieces of wood. This long piece here was up off the ground, and when you cut into it, it's fairly solid, but you can see it's split, and it's not real straight. There's a few splits at a few spots. You see another one here, so that turned out to be no good. So I ended up going back down the gully and I got this piece. This came off the same tree that the 2 side pieces here and here, they were both on top of this one. So this one's quite thick and yeah, solid, and certainly no rot in it or anything like that. It's not big enough to do the whole front, but I'm having a bit of a change of plan as I tend to do. I'm thinking with that piece, I've got enough that what I can do is put a piece across here and then a second piece across there, but not the doorway. There's not enough to do the doorway, so which kind of makes me think it would be nice to do a stone doorstep rather than wood. Would be kind of cool. I think it'd look nice. So right, so that's that piece sourced now. It's still getting late. The weather is starting to turn. I've had a couple of spits of rain. There's a lot of cloud cover coming over, so I'm going to put a halt to work for today and prioritise now getting the fireplace prepped, getting some firewood cut, and we'll get some food on the go, because I'm pretty hungry, and cooking also means it's time to have a beer as well, so will be most welcome. Oh, this bark is really wet. I'll wait for the fire to die down there. I just thought I'd get on camera and get on my soapbox. Well, it's not really my soapbox, but I really enjoyed the talking session we did last week, and I hope you enjoyed that too. So I thought of something to say to camera. I'm not having a whinge, this is all positive. So something that, an idea that has been floating around in my mind for a long time now is that I watch a lot of YouTube, right? A bit of a YouTube addict. And obviously a lot of that YouTube content is bushcraft. And the majority of the bushcrafting and camping type channels are from North America, Canada and Europe.
and I'm sure you know the sorts of channels that I'm talking about. I'm not going to mention them. Yes, there are a couple of Australian guys that are doing some really quality stuff, and most of you know who they are. I'm not going to mention them either, but they're really big. Certainly compared to my channel, big, you know, bigger than I am. And they've put the work in and they've earned it, so good on them, you know, and I enjoy watching them, and I'm sure you do too. I kind of really like this concept though. I've had numerous comments on this channel about how Australian viewers are really pleased to see Australian bushcrafting content makers. So I kind of, not only do I think that there should be more, I kind of have this idea of doing what we can as a community to foster new channels that are starting in this genre. Certainly for me, it gave my channel a huge kick when Craig gave me a plug on his channel, Bushcraft and Camping Adventures. So I kind of like the idea of doing that for other YouTubers that start in this genre. And so I want to mention two channels today. The first channel I want to mention is a guy that I came across maybe a month or so ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. He's a young bloke, I'm assuming. I'm quite confident he's younger than me. He's very entertaining, and he's only got a couple of videos up. Admittedly, he talks a big game, and his first video, he says a whole bunch of stuff that he says that he's going to be covering on his channel, and I really hope he does. I find him so entertaining. He's such a unique guy. He has a unique style, and he's funny. Like, he's got a sense of humor. So his name is Josh, and he's in Queensland, and his channel name is Surviving Australia. So go over and check out his channel. Like I said, I think if we can encourage him to continue going, so please go and check out his channel, Surviving Australia. Tell him I sent you. All right, go and leave a comment. Alex does recommend I come and check out your channel. Go and subscribe to him, and yeah, show him some love. The second channel I want to give a plug to. Now, this guy started his YouTube channel many years ago, but didn't really upload any videos. I think he's got some videos on some under another channel name. But just recently he posted on social media that he wanted to really get into the YouTube. And in the last couple of days, certainly before I came here, he uploaded a couple of videos that are really good. This next guy is the epitome of an expert. Not only is he an expert in things like bushcraft, camping, proper bush survival, like I'm talking proper bush survival, and bush tucker. He's just now I don't know him personally, but he is from the Central Coast. I've never met him. I know people who have met him several times, and from everything I've seen, he's a guy with a big heart who he does a lot of good for the community, a lot of good for young Indigenous people, as well as the wider community as a whole. He is an expert on survival in the bush, shelter making. He does actually run courses on bush tucker and all that sort of stuff. And you might know this guy. He's really well known on the Central Coast as well as other parts of the country. So his name is Jake Cassar, and his channel is Jake Cassar Bushcraft. So go and check out his channel. He released a couple of videos just the last couple of days. One video on native spinach, and he also recently released a video on eating a rat, which I would so love to do, but apparently it tastes awesome. So anyway, go and check out his channel. Again, same with Josh. Go check out Jake's channel, Jake Cassar Bushcraft. It's Jake Cassar is Cassar, Bushcraft. Tell him I sent you. He doesn't know who the hell I am, so he'll probably get a bit of a surprise if he gets, you know, 2 or 3 viewers from me going, oh, Alex from Alex Does sent me over and recommended I go and check out your channel. So he'll have no idea who I am, and that doesn't matter. And I certainly don't want anything in return. I'm just, like I said, I really like this idea of just, we all band together of almost like a group of like-minded people, and try and foster something positive in the world, really, and on YouTube, and something that we're all going to enjoy. Yeah, so go and check those guys out. It's just something I wanted to get off my chest, and something I've been mulling over in my head for the last couple of months.
Alright, so you can see I've checked these two out now pretty rough, very roughly with the axe. I've cut a piece to length now. I had these ideas that the original plan was that I was then gonna cut out here, you know, make cuts on either end so that it's slotted in nicely like I'm some sort of wannabe carpenter, but there's a couple of things going against that idea. One, I'm not a carpenter. Two, I'm trying to do all this with an axe. Three, I'm very much opposed to hard work, and I'm quite lazy.